Chloe, darling, we're off on the most extravagant city break. London, Paris, New York. Picture luxurious suites, private rooftop champagne parties, and maybe even a bit of Chanel shopping.
I'm picturing a lot of credit card debt, but hang on, stick around, folks. I've got a few tricks to make sure we enjoy all the glam without needing a second mortgage.
Welcome, my dearest friends, to Traveluptuous, where we travel in utter luxury. Today, I'm whisking dear Chloe off to experience a fabulous city break. Think 5-star hotels, first-class flights, and the most decadent experiences each city has to offer.
And while that sounds amazing, I'd rather, not pay the price of a small island to do it. Don't worry though, I've got some ideas up my sleeve to keep us stylish but smart. And hey, if you love fancy travel without the insane cost, why not subscribe? Just putting that out there.
Chloe, darling, there's simply no other way to travel than first class. It's the only civilized way to start a journey. Luxurious seats, champagne at takeoff, and no riffraff anywhere in sight.
Sure, Winifred, just as long as you can foot the bill. But if you want a slightly more earthbound approach, I've got a better idea. Let's set up some price alerts through trip.com and see what comes our way. They have this great feature that does all the hard work for you. And by the way, there's a link to it in the description below if you want to give it a try yourself. We might even sneak into business class, and nobody will know the difference.
Business class? Oh dear, I suppose if it's the upper side of business class, I could entertain the notion. But alerts? Whatever do you mean?
Alerts, Winnie, let the system do the work. You get notified when prices drop. We might just get that business class seat for way less than you'd think.
Fascinating. A price drop butler. I like the sound of that. What would we do without your charming pragmatism?
Oh, and if we want to make things extra interesting, we could try bidding for upgrades at the airport. It's like a little game of chance. Sometimes you win big and end up in first class for a steal.
Bidding for upgrades? How delightfully risky. I do enjoy a touch of drama, provided I still end up with champagne in hand.
I'd expect nothing less. Also, quick reminder, folks, if you like our little tips and want more, hit that like button. Oh, and if you've ever managed to snag a first-class upgrade on a budget, let us know in the comments. We could all use some extra tips.
Next stop, darling, accommodations. Naturally, I expect only the finest. Perhaps the Ritz or Claridge's. Somewhere with a personal butler and a suite that stretches as far as the eye can see.
Of course you do. But why pay full Ritz prices when we can use a little know-how to get something just as swanky, but without the bank-busting rates?
And where, pray tell, would you find such an elusive treasure?
Simple. You don't walk in through the front door like everyone else. You compare across platforms and voila, luxury at a steal. I like to use Hotel Look for that. It checks different sites for the best deals, so you get the luxury without the big price tag. And guess what? There's a link in the description if you want to give it a go yourself. If you think blending economy with opulence is the way to go, give this video a thumbs up. It's like shopping around but for hotels. Think of it as my way of blending economy with opulence.
Economy blended with opulence? Now that's a cocktail I'd be willing to try. But let's make sure it comes with room service or all bets are off.
Don't worry, room service is included, just not at full Ritz pricing. Fancy that.
And what about amenities? I simply must have a spa, darling. A proper one with hot stone massages and cucumber water.
Oh, absolutely. You'd be surprised how many boutique hotels offer spa services at a fraction of the price of the big names. And sometimes they're even better. More personal, less crowded, and no need to elbow your way to the sauna.
Heavens, elbowing is simply not an activity for vacations. Very well, Chloe. I shall trust in your boutique magic. But if I end up without a facial, there will be words.
Trust me, Winnie, you'll get your facial. And probably a few extra treatments just because we're saving so much.
Ah, but darling, how shall we travel from the hotel to our glamorous engagements? A Bentley, I hope. Or shall I settle for a Rolls this time? One must be seen arriving in style.
Oh, sure, and I'll just whip out my spare change for the Bentley. Or how about this? Renting directly from local agencies. I like using localrent.com for that. It's a great way to get something fancy without the hefty price tag, and they work with local suppliers to get you the best deals. There's a link in the description if you want to check it out yourself. You get something fancy, but at a price that won't make your eyes water.
Local agencies. Chloe, dear, you do have a knack for finding these obscure solutions. Do they at least have proper cozy seating?
Spacious seating, climate control, all the comforts you'd expect. You'll feel like royalty without the royal bill. It's about finding hidden gems, Winnie. Hidden gems.
Very well. I shall indulge your cleverness. But if the car is anything less than marvelous, I reserve the right to protest in the most elegant way possible.
Wouldn't expect anything less.
And what about a chauffeur? I simply cannot be expected to navigate city streets. It's terribly undignified.
Funny you should mention that. Some rental services actually offer driver options at reasonable rates, so you can sit back, relax, and wave like royalty to the masses.
Ah, splendid! Waving is, after all, one of my greatest talents.
I know, Winnie. I've seen you practice.
Do you recall that time in Milan? The crowd was simply ecstatic, darling. I think they believed I was some sort of visiting nobility.
You do have that aura, Winnie. I think it's the way you hold your handbag. Just the right angle to suggest aristocracy.
Ah, yes, the handbag tilt. It takes years of practice, Chloe.
Well, I think I've mastered the affordable luxury on a budget tilt. Maybe we could give a tutorial one day.
A tutorial, you say? How utterly modern. Well, perhaps we could, but only if we do it in a Rolls. Of course, Chloe. We cannot possibly visit Paris without indulging in the finer things. Champagne at the top of the Eiffel Tower, private art tours, perhaps a little shopping at Dior. It's all part of the experience.
And if you've got bottomless pockets, that's all well and good. But for us regular folk, let's get the same Luxe experience without the black hole in our bank accounts.
Do go on, dear. How would you achieve such an impossible feat?
Here's the thing. You hit up the same spots, but you do it smarter. Museums, many offer free entry days. Champagne, don't bother with the Eiffel. Head to a rooftop bar with a view just as good and half the cost. Same fancy vibes, fewer zeros. If you know of any hidden spots with a view just as good as the Eiffel Tower, drop it in the comments. We love hearing your ideas.
My word, Chloe, you do have a talent for this. Perhaps there's a world where one can have one's Dior without quite as much financial damage.
That's the spirit. And the best part? All that saved cash means we can splurge on just one scarf at Dior. I know how you love your scarves, Win.
One scarf, Chloe. Surely we can do a little better than that.
Fine, 2 scarves, but you're pushing it.
And perhaps a small handbag. Nothing ostentatious, of course, just a little something to remember Paris by.
You're incorrigible, you know that? But all right, a small handbag. Consider it a reward for all our savvy saving.
Chloe, if we decide to stay longer, and I certainly think we should, we simply must rent an apartment in the city. A penthouse overlooking the Seine, with a chef on hand to prepare our meals.
Now you're talking my language. But let's not overpay for that penthouse. I know a way we can stay in that dreamy apartment at a fraction of the cost.
A fraction? Oh, do explain.
There's a little trick to scoring apartments at wholesale prices. I like using Vacabee for that. It helps you find amazing deals on longer stays without compromising on luxury. And of course, there's a link in the description if you'd like to try it out. It's like getting the same penthouse for way less, without sacrificing any of the luxe. That's the goal. Stay somewhere fabulous, spend half, and still have money for all those rooftop bars we talked about.
And the chef, Chloe, can we still have a chef?
We can hire a private chef for a night or two. It's actually more affordable than you'd think. We get all the glam of fine dining, but without the exorbitant restaurant markups.
A private chef at home? Oh, I do love the sound of that. I suppose there's something quite charming about dining in our penthouse, watching the Seine sparkle.
See, Winnie, luxury doesn't have to mean recklessness. We get the chef, the view, and we still have money left over for that Dior handbag.
You are a marvel, Chloe, truly. I shall toast to your brilliance with the finest champagne we can reasonably afford. Darling, while we're here, we must explore the local scene, not just the tourist traps, something truly special. Perhaps a quaint hidden jazz club?
Now you're thinking like a true traveler. There are always hidden gems, local spots that the guidebooks don't tell you about. It's all about asking the locals and doing a bit of research. Plus, they're usually way more affordable and way more fun.
A jazz club sounds divine. Perhaps somewhere with those plush velvet booths and a smoky atmosphere, very noir.
Exactly. And maybe we can find a little family-run bistro afterward. Something cozy, authentic, and without the tourist prices.
How quaint. I must admit, Chloe, this side of travel does have its charms. No crowds, no fuss, just pure, unadulterated experience.
See, I told you. The best moments are often the ones that don't come with a hefty price tag.
Well then, lead the way, my dear. Let us find these hidden treasures and make memories that are both priceless and, well, affordably priced.
I remember this one time in Barcelona. We found a flamenco bar hidden away in an alley. No tourists, just locals, and the most amazing dancing.
Oh, I adore flamenco. The passion, the music, it's also alive.
Absolutely. It's those unexpected finds that make the best stories, isn't it?
Indeed. And imagine the tales we'll have to tell. Sipping wine in a smoky jazz club, dining in a hidden bistro. It's practically a novel waiting to be written.
Maybe we'll write it someday. Winnie and Chloe's Guide to Hidden Luxuries.
Oh, I love it. But only if we can have a chapter dedicated to proper handbag tilting.
Deal.
Well, darlings, that concludes our fabulous city break adventure. I must say, Chloe, you've managed to surprise me at every turn. Luxury on a budget. It seems the impossible is possible after all.
Glad I could impress. And for those of you watching, if you like the idea of living large without the crazy costs, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button and let us know in the comments where you'd love to travel in style.
And do, my dears, check the links below for some of these delightful tools Chloe keeps mentioning. Who knew saving money could be this chic? Until next time, bon voyage, loves.
See you on the next adventure, hopefully with more scarves and fewer zeros.